out of 10 people we were talking about, or 10 out of debt collectors, or 9 times out of 10 of these creditors who are claiming that it's a debt we were talking about, you will fail to validate the claim. Now, why do you believe that?
Personal experience.
Yeah, do it slow. Yeah, do it slow, Rick. Why do you believe that?
I believe it from personal experience.
Okay, well, tell us.
And the numbers of debt validation efforts that I have attempted, following their rules, following statutes, you send them a request for certain information, and they send you back a computer-generated cover letter that basically says, "We don't know what you're talking about, pay us some money." And that's pretty much how the conversation goes.
So what was the stuff, the information you were basically asking them to send to you?
I was like, please send me proof that this agreement exists, that the amount of money that you're charging, that you want me to pay, is exactly what I'm supposed to pay. Show me what it was that I did or contracted to do or used, if it's a credit card, what did I charge? Show me that all of the fees and everything else that you've thrown onto this thing are actually valid. Show me that you didn't add a bunch of other crap that has nothing to do with our agreement. Show me that this is clean. It's kind of like if I bought a hammer from you for $10, you charge me $5 interest over 6 months, and then close the account. I figure out to pay you $15, maybe $16 for mailing. And if all of a sudden you want $150 for that $10 hammer, I'd like to know where the extra $140 came from.
So, stop right there. That's great. That's good, Greg. So not only tell them, okay, this is what I'm saying, folks, see, because this is what I would do if I was the credit card company. I'd say it's all in the contract. Read the contract. It's too font. It's 10,000 pages long. I would tell them, no, highlight it. Highlight the terms and the conditions in the contract, because until you do that, I think you're just making this up. I don't think there's any valid explanation within that contract that could possibly legitimize what you're claiming or what you're. So please highlight it and send it to me. Instead of you trying to read these 10,000 pages as well, it's in a contract, just read it. That's not my job. No. If they see it's in there, they wrote the thing. Make them bring the law forward, because that's the law. Between you and them, that's the law. So if they're saying there's a contract, and you signed the thing, and you made this private law now between you and them, you have to live and die by this law. You might say they're a bunch of Shylocks, that's fine, but you knew what you were dealing when you danced with the devil. You knew you were going to burn it. So you've got to make the devil show the terms and the conditions, or the clause. You have to show it in the contract. So go ahead, Greg. What else would you ask these people to produce?
Well, if we're talking about the original creditor, you don't have to worry about third-party authorization. If you're talking about a debt collector, we know that a lot of, I would say we all know, because, let's assume that there's people on the call that are here for the first time. What a lot of people do know is, presume, thank you for busting me on my favorite bad word. Yeah, I know, it is, assume is to make an ass out of you and me, right?
Go ahead.
Right. So anyway, in most cases in contemporary business, when a bill or a debt has been, an alleged debt has been passed from the original entity to a third party, that third party has either paid those people cash, written them a check for that debt on pennies on the dollar, or agreed to a commission at a fraction of the cost. All right? And in addition to that, most of the creditors that are out there have insurance policies, so that if they ever have an uncollectible debt and it goes to the third party, they actually get paid for the debt before it even goes to the third party. So they can write it off. I mean, this is gorgeous how they have it set up. You can get a debt with them. They can then write it off and remove that from their profit, and they can collect the insurance on it and not have to claim that as profit because it's an insurance claim on a damage. So they get paid twice, and the third-party debt collector pays them something, so they're getting paid like maybe almost 2.5 times, and they're made whole. So they're made whole, and they're coming back and telling you that they're not made whole and you owe them this money. So you have to wonder, well, if you've been made whole, well, what am I supposed to do? If you haven't been harmed or injured, and no man has been harmed or injured, and you guys, in your wisdom, created this banking system and insurance system that makes it impossible for you to lose, why are you bothering me?
Okay,
why aren't you?
Stop there a second, please. All right, you're doing good. But what you folks might not have just noticed is Greg went from square dancing to tap dancing. What Greg just did is he just shifted jurisdiction. And I don't want to shift jurisdiction yet, Greg. I want to still concentrate on statute. Concentrate on the law of the contract. Don't try to throw a trump card in because you danced with the credit card company. So you bound yourself with the devil. You made a deal with the devil. You are going to get burned. There's no doubt about it. There's somewhere in that contract where you get fried. So let's just work with trying to stay in honor with the person that you decided to dance with. Okay? Go ahead. Keep going with that.
All right. So if you don't know anything about what goes around behind the scenes, and you think the only thing that exists is you think this credit card company actually reached into their pocket and gave you money in order to buy that refrigerator, which they didn't, but you believe that because that's what the contract looks like. Okay, the contract looks like, Visa, MasterCard is going to reach into their pocket, pull out $500 for me to buy my new refrigerator. Okay? And so if you're old-fashioned farmer guy from 1800, you're thinking that's exactly what happened because back in 1800, that's the only thing that could happen. All right? There was nothing else. So you believe it. So if you believe that, then you're thinking, well, I should pay this guy back because he put his money out there to buy my refrigerator, and so he really owes me my refrigerator, so I pay him off.
Okay. What I'm trying to say here is I really don't want to go down that path because a credit card company did not give you money. A credit card company did not give you paper. A credit card company gave you what?
Credit.
That's right. So I don't want to hear anything about money because money's just a medium of exchange. Now, whether I trade you 300 pounds of cow manure and you give me 600 pounds of the best Chicago bratwurst that you can find, that's money. So I don't want to confuse people with thinking that a credit card company gave them or did not give them money. They gave them something which they believed was worth value to them. Well, they would have never danced with these people or accepted their conditions for value. So all I'm trying to say, Greg, let's make this.
I know you don't want to say money, but for 90% of the common man, they think that represents money.
Okay. All we're trying to say is what things does the credit card company or their representatives or any debt, somebody who gave you something and demands something now, the restitution, what do they need to present to you or to court to keep moving that claim? Now, don't go down on money. Don't do any of this other nonsense. We're just doing a generalization for anybody who owes you a debt, that believes you owe them a debt. What do they need to establish?
Well, anybody who wants to move anything through a court has got to bring the law and the facts.
Okay. Now, we're not talking about that. When I said to you before, what we were doing was like saying, how do they validate and produce the facts and the evidence to move the court? That's the question. You said 90% of them can't produce, and they can never be able to validate the debt. Now, how would you say they need to bring forth to validate the debt?
They need to bring forth a man or a woman who knows that this is true.
Okay. Now, stop right there a second, folks. This is where this Greg just did his jurisdiction change on me again. Okay? This is common law. Okay? Now, in contract, if you made a deal with Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola does not have to bring any man or woman forward to bring forth because you reduced your status of a man and you merged it with a fiction. So, for you to get something of value from a two-dimensional world, you reduced your status to that of a two-dimensional entity as well. So they are going to demand from you, this two-dimensional entity is going to say, well, we demand from your person what we agreed as a medium of exchange, money, or what we deemed had value. We are going to give you 10,000 cases of Coca-Cola, and you're going to give us 10,000 widgets or $10,000. So this is how they're going to bring you into court. Now, can you play the old trump card and say, oh, well, this is common law land, and you know what, I'm going to beat these Coca-Cola out of every damn Coca-Cola can they sold to me. They sold me 10 million Coca-Cola cans, so I'm going to beat them out of their money, and I'm going to say, there's nobody with any first-hand knowledge that could say that signature on that piece of paper between me and Coca-Cola is legitimate. You know what, honestly, technically, yes, people can do it. Do I think it's disgusting and evil? Yes. And you're worse than a lawyer to me, because you know how to take advantage, how to take candy out of a baby's mouth. Because, like, say Greg had a company, and he just decided to make his own new cola company in Chicago. And Greg had a whole bunch of stockholders, like his mom and Mike from Privatis, and everybody joining in and giving Greg money to build up this wonderful corporation. So Greg created a corporate entity. I come along, Karl, because I know common law. I'm going to order 10 million cans of Greg Cola. So I get Greg's Coca-Cola coming to me. I tell Greg, prove that's my signature, prove this, prove that, prove this, you're screwed. Is Karl wind up with 10 million cans of free soda? Absolutely. What happened to all those stockholders? What happened to his mom and everybody gets invested in that corporation? They trusted me that I would do a certain thing for certain, to return for something. So now, what's happening now is it's been going along so smoothly for the corporations to keep doing this to people. All people have to do, what Greg would have to do then, as a good businessman would say, Karl, honestly, this stuff is going to get wacky. You guys are starting to drag us into common law, and you guys are starting to do this to us. We're losing exponentially. We're going downhill fast. So now, we're going to have to slow this process down. So, Karl, if you want $10 million of great Coca-Cola out of the Great Coca-Cola Corporation, Karl, we're going to need a $10 million bond. So that way, if your check bounces, or anything happens between the transaction between you and the trading common law, we're holding your freaking bond. So you're going to sign this $10 million over to the corporation known as Great Coca-Cola. Okay? Now, what I'm saying to you folks, this is what's going to happen. It's commerce is just going to slow down, because the corporation is going to say, how do we get somebody to use their debit card or credit card or sign a mortgage without making sure they're bonded? Because everybody just did it on their word. You'd have a credit rating, and your credit rating just established, based upon your acts in the past, your inactions in the past, how good your word was to paying off a debt. So if they just say, look, everybody's learning how to beat us, you know what? Either they're just going to all wrap up, or the banks and everybody's just going to wrap up shop and say, look, like there's only one person out of 100 on this planet that lives in the United States. You know what? We're going to go to China. We're going to go to India. We're going to Africa, where there's 99% of the world lives. We don't need you, United States, anymore. You know what? You guys figure out how to trade rubles or wampum or seashells with each other anymore. You don't want to deal with us anymore. You don't want to act honorably with us anymore. We're not going to deal with this bond nonsense with you people. You know what? God bless you. We're going to unbolt all your machines and factories, and we'll just ship them to China, and you guys could just work in McDonald's for the rest of your lives, because we're not going to extend credit to you people anymore. How hard is it to get a loan nowadays? It's almost impossible. How hard is it to start a business any day? Because the banks are scared that they're not going to be able to, you could say, screw over the people anymore. So they're afraid that these people are going to learn how to get out of any kind of credit card debt or any kind of loan or any kind of mortgage, and the people will learn how to do it. But then what are we going to have? So that's what I'm just saying to folks. Be careful. You know the guy's going to get what you wish for. But what's going to happen to the next generation? The people who try to establish credit or get homes or try to get businesses going. That's why I said it's so important. If you want to play in their jurisdiction, if you want to play in their two-dimensional world, believe me, if the best you could do, like I say to you folks all the time, is say, look, by my word, in good faith, the best I could do, I'm out of a job right now. Greg, the best I could do right now is give you $2 a day for the next 365 days, whatever, until I pay the debt off. Believe me, as soon as I get back on my feet, as soon as I get a job, as soon as I win the lottery, believe me, you will be the second person that gets paid off. First I'm going to say, praise to Jesus, whatever. But you're going to be the very next person I want to pay off. And there you go. So this is what I try to say to folks. Greg's going to bring you down a second jurisdiction, common law, and how to wipe out these people and get them off your back. But if so many people do it, like I said, it's going to be a domino effect. And it's going to be a house of cards, and it's going to collapse. So this is just my belief. You know, this is what I really believe I can see happening. So, if you want to play in the 2-dimensional land or 3-dimensional land, or, you know, that's fine. But,
actually, Karl, if you think about it, though, I'm sorry for jumping in.
No, run it, man.
But at the same time, you know, two different bad things happen. One, people start feeling entitled. And two, banks decided to really go berserk on usury. If you really stop and think about the fact that the prime lending rate right now from the Fed to the banks is 0.1%. Just about nothing. Right? The banks get printed money for free. Then they charge you 18 to 21% interest on borrowing. They are at a point right now where their profit margins are obscene. It is absolute, you know, gun to your head usury. All right? So what happened is that instead of everybody being in the middle and being honorable, the people became more and more dishonorable, and the banks became more and more dishonorable, to the point where the chasm between the providers of currency and the users of currency is so wide right now that it's unresolvable. And your prediction of having a new economy and a new form of currency and everything like that, I think that that's inevitable. I think that the game that was set up, I personally think the game that was set up is at an end. Okay? I don't think it can't go very much longer. And if it does, it can only be done at the point of the bayonet. And I think that there will be a new development of currency. I think that in the short term, it's going to go back to what everybody can trust, and that is straight barter. I'm a plumber, so I know how to do plumbing. I'm going to fix your sink, and you're going to give me a bushel of corn. And a lot of that stuff is already going on outside of the large metropolitan areas. If you go into Iowa and Nebraska, you know, southern Illinois, Indiana, throughout the heartland, I don't know how things are on the coast because I'm not familiar with the internal economy. That I know my 10, 12 states over here, and a lot of people are doing that now. And it's all hush-hush because nobody wants to talk about it because they all still are afraid of the IRS. And so a lot of people are just doing that, you know? And it's all being done on a handshake and a nod, and, you know, they're trusting their neighbors, and their neighbors are coming through. And that kind of stuff is really happening. And that's how ordinary folks in the heartland are dealing with the problem.
But believe it or not,
basically opting out. They're just opting out.
Believe it or not, it's funny too. The reason why the banks don't want to loan money is because the interest rates are so low, and to them, they're waiting for the interest rates to rise to you know, start loaning money out again.
Well, so, only on. But Karl, be clear on that. Only on secured loans.
Right.
The interest they are under a lot of scrutiny when it comes to a secured loan with a collateral, but they have no scrutiny when it comes to credit cards, and that's why they push everybody to credit cards.
Well, what I'm saying,
they can do whatever they want.
Like, you know, venture capitalists, they're sitting on their money and they're just waiting for the interest rates to go up. So people might be, like they're saying, these corporations and these college institutes are still billions of dollars just waiting for the interest rates to go up so they can put the money back into the economy. But at this point, they said, you know what, it's better for us to stick our money in a mattress than to put it in an economy that might go under. So until they actually see that people are borrowing again, because borrowing means growth. Borrowing means there's corporations starting up, and there's a demand for currency. There's a demand to spend again. So like George Bush said to you guys after 9/11, don't let the terrorists win. Go out to those malls and keep buying products and keep buying Nintendos and keep buying houses. Just keep the money. Just keep the economy going. Don't be afraid to go out of your house. Don't be afraid to go to the shopping mall. Go out there and spend. So as long as there's a demand for the currency, the interest rates will go up. And so the venture capitalists, people who might be millionaires or billionaires will feel a little less hesitant to putting money back into the stock market or putting it into their local communities if they believe there's going to be real growth. But until they believe there's real growth again, they're just going to buy bullion of silver or gold ingots, and they're going to stick it under their mattress and just wait for the economy to collapse. So, like I said, that's why I just try to say everybody, if everybody just starts to learn to keep their word and play fair and square, I just think this is the way to more go at it and try to figure out who's going to screw the other side first. Are we going to screw the banks, or the banks going to screw us? Who's going to screw who now? Who's got the new latest